Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is a thought for your day. And this comes again from the book Kundalini, Empowering Human Evolution. And this is comes from a chapter titled, Is Meditation Always Beneficial? And this is from page 116. And he starts out, he says, there are many intellectuals who believe that the states of illumination many thousands of people are seeking are just the inner mental states bordering on the subconscious. They think that these states can be evoked in hypnosis or during the alpha and theta phases of biofeedback. Quote, a yogi can learn to control his brainwaves in a matter of years, say Carlins and Andrews in their work, Biofeedback, adding that the average person using biofeedback training can learn to control his brainwaves in a matter of hours. They also quote Dr. Johann Stoiva, saying that information feedback techniques might be able to teach the blank mind state typical of Zen and yoga within months or even weeks. Stoiva's own experience of alpha, they say, was like a flowing gray-black film with a luminous quality. At another place, he says, as technology for measuring and training brainwaves becomes more sophisticated, unpracticed meditators will have the opportunity to duplicate the physiological states of Zen and yoga. But I'm telling you, this is a misconception. The gravity of the error lies not in misjudging the nature of mystical ecstasy and the phenomenon of illumination closely associated with it, but in completely overlooking a factor that is of paramount importance for human welfare and safety. And this is the factor of evolution, or in other words, of the resistless change in human consciousness caused by an equally resistless, though still imperceptible, microbiological change in the human brain. We see unchallengeable evidence for this transformation when we compare the relics of ancient cultures, 3,000 to 5,000 years old, with the culture of today. But as a group, biologists are not prepared to concede that the human brain is still in a process of organic evolution, because they can't see any perceptible symptoms of such a process. True, there are no discernible signs in the brain to attest to this transformation. But then, are we able to decipher all the cryptic language of the cranium? And is it not still almost a complete mystery to us? Until very recently, we could not even find any visible organic signs of such a glaring pathological upheaval as that of insanity. And even eminent psychologists believed it to be purely psychic in nature. Even now, the biological origin of insanity is completely obscure. On what evidence, then, do the erudite pass their judgments when the nature of bioenergy and the microbiology of the brain are still pretty much a closed book? The very first experience of the beatific state brings the realization home to one who has it that the nature of consciousness varies with different individuals. The difference between a blockhead and an intellectual is in the depth and volume of consciousness of each. Each point of awareness representing a human being has its own spectrum, its own brightness, depth, and volume. And in this way, each one of us varies from the others. The consciousness of the enlightened person is virtually illuminated, and he or she lives both in the waking and dreaming states in a resplendent world of light. Consciousness is a sovereign reality of the universe. Its range of manifestations is infinite. Just as there are subhuman states of consciousness, so there are also transhuman states. And we're not talking about transhumanism. Mystical consciousness or enlightened awareness marks the lowest limit of the transhuman kind. There have been historical persons who had it either occasionally or as a perennial possession from birth, that enlightenment, that world of light. Now we see this state of illumination gradually increasing when we rise from the lowest to the highest stratum of the human mind, both conscious and subconscious. Every individual is enclosed in a watertight shell of his own mind and is entirely debarred from having even one fleeting glimpse of that of another. This strict isolation makes each individual invest others with the same kind of consciousness that he has himself, with more or less the same intelligence, sensitivity, etc. But this is a fallacy. There is a difference in the very structure or spectrum of each individual consciousness. And it's caused by the difference in the biological organism through which it is expressed. The very texture of illuminated consciousness is thus distinct and different from others. It's not only that one has visual feasts of light and color or an extended awareness, but also wholesale transformation of consciousness occurs. During the course of genuine mystical experience, a higher dimension of consciousness intervenes, eclipsing the normal personality, partially or wholly, for a certain period of time. It then seems as if a new world, a new order of existence, or a superhuman has descended into view. There is an unmistakably enhanced perception of lights, colors, beauty, goodness, virtue, and harmony, which lend a superworldly appearance to the whole experience. So true. Do we not see this greater perception of light, color, beauty, harmony, ideals, moral values, and creative joy in the great geniuses of mankind? The great painters, sculptors, musicians, writers, philosophers, poets, mystics, and reformers? Transcendental consciousness is adorned with all these attributes and is a step ahead, but it must be clearly understood as such to chart out the direction in which the evolution of consciousness is taking place before our very eyes. If it is possible to produce geniuses of all these categories with guided meditation, biofeedback training, drugs, hypnosis, letting the mind go, or other practices of that sort, then enlightenment cannot fail to respond to the same treatment to produce a number of Christs, Buddhas, or Platos in lavish numbers in the year to come. So why then all this confusion? Let's just evolve consciousness. So as you go through your day, think about that world of light, that pool of peace that world of light exists in. Think about what you could do to enhance your perception of light, color, beauty, harmony, the goodness in people, How do you get to that new world and anchor yourself there? It's through the expansion of consciousness. And once you have it, there's no going back. Have a great day.